Welcome back to the podcast, nerds. How you doing? I am Larry Brantley, and I am sitting here, as always, with my two besties, Mike Donahoe.
Greetings, program.
And Britt Williams.
How you doing?
And we are the Nerd Herfers. We're laughing on the inside at that joke, by the way.
Gotcha.
We are three middle-aged guys who enjoy cigars and whiskey and all the nerdy shit we loved when we were kids. And we like to talk about those things and also experience those things. That's why we do a podcast. And by the way, if you are not currently a member of Nerd Herfer Nation, it's so easy to do that. All you have to do is go out to nerdherfers.com, hit the subscribe button. That's going to let you know in advance every time we got a new podcast dropping. We have got a merch store. We now have a cigar shop. So all the cigars that we review on the program, you can now click on our cigar shop and you can just go out to CI and get them for your very own self. So there's really no reason in the world not to join the nation, as they say. So get on that, will you? Because we're impatient and we're really old and not getting any younger.
We don't have much time left.
We don't have, honestly, I don't think any of us thought we'd make it this far.
That's true.
So
every day is a gift.
Oh gosh, he's got that tacked up on his wall, right next to "Hang in there, baby."
I was gonna say next to my kitten hanging off the tree branch. Hang in there.
So hey, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Here's how the show works. Each week, one of us brings some cigars to try. One of us brings a bottle of whiskey to go with those cigars, and we will also try that. And then one of us brings the topic of conversation that we then proceed to nerd into the ground. Before we get going with all of that, though, we've got a little segment that we do every podcast called Nerd News. It is last week's news today because this stuff has been out for a while because we don't record the podcast all the time. But by the way, you haven't heard our take on it, so we always can't wait to see what our anchorman Brent Williams is bringing us for little tidbits to talk about. So Brent, take it away.
Well, I have to start off with a retraction.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
We were duped. So apparently
that happens to me 10 times a day. You have to be more specific.
Apparently, the actor for Batman has not been cast yet.
Oh.
Yeah. So James Gunn came out and said, "Stop it." It hasn't happened.
Like he has to do.
And so in my frenzy going, but it said it was official. I go and now I can't find the article anywhere.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like erased from existence.
It's erased from existence. So anyway, so sorry about that. Batman hasn't been cast yet.
Okay, let's just slide past that like we didn't have to say that. Next.
All right, well, here's this. I thought this was really funny. So there is a Nintendo museum in Japan, right? You can go in and play all the games, all that kind of stuff. And they have these kiosks and stuff you can play at. Well, this guy walks up to the kiosk and he noticed something kind of funny. So he unplugged the controller and he heard a familiar sound. The little bing bong bing that Windows makes when you disconnect USB. And the irony in that story is that Nintendo is famous for suing emulator makers and ROM distributors.
Oh.
They don't like their stuff on ROMs, and they're using Windows emulators in the museum for the SNES.
In the Nintendo Museum? What kind of sacrilege are they practicing over there in Japan?
Emulation.
That's right.
You know what? They used to tell me if I did that too much, I'd go blind.
That's right.
And
They only have 200.
Yeah, you only get 200.
Now these glasses.
$199. Do I risk it? Do I risk it?
All right. So this, I thought it was interesting. Wolverine and Deadpool is out on streaming now.
Wait, it's on streaming? I thought it was just available to buy digitally.
Well, by streaming, I mean you can rent or buy.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah.
But the home release is scheduled for, I think it's October 22nd.
Blu-rays and DVDs.
October 22nd this year?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So
wait, doesn't that mean like by the time this airs, you can get it?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
All right,
Yeah.
Disney, don't screw with me on this. Do not.
Do you have a habit of collecting the hard copies of things, Blu-rays and DVDs?
I do not, because I don't have a thing in the house that can play them.
So go get it now. Because when it released on the actual day, I was like, purchase.
But do you have a player?
No. Digital streaming.
Oh, okay.
I bought a license.
Oh, you mean well, it used to be called Voodoo, now it's called Fandango. But it is.
How old are you?
That's a true story.
I was gonna say, you can buy it like on Amazon.
So
or
I use
YouTube TV.
I use Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
I have Prime.
A Prime Home Video.
Yeah.
Like make
You
purchases.
can just buy it on Prime and store it in your library.
Or I can just wait another week or so and have it on Disney Plus.
It's already been there since the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
It has not.
Well,
has not.
Because I've had it the whole time.
No.
On Disney Plus?
It's not streaming free on Disney Plus yet.
Not free. I did not say free. It is streaming for a purchasable
Oh,
price.
you are splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Not really. I
And
mean,
you
it's the
can't
difference
afford
between-
that.
All right.
I've seen
bought
the
it.
back of your head.
I bought it.
Gentlemen,
All right.
it's too early in the show to come to fisticuffs.
Fair enough.
Let's move along.
All right.
Point is,
anyway,
I'll see you outside.
Sounds good.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Bike racks, 3:00.
Behind the dumpster. So anyway, the interesting part about that is, the scenes where they're going through all the different variants of Wolverine, is trying to find the Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
And there's a scene where there's a Wolverine that's about to square off with the Hulk. And that Wolverine is wearing a tan and brown suit, which is a version of the suit that appeared in the comics.
Yes.
Yep.
That suit cost $100,000 to make.
Wow. And that suit had like 24 frames of screen time.
It had about 10 seconds of screen time.
Pretty much the dude was like, oh, you need me to build that suit? That's going to cost you.
You need to win?
Who's paying the bill?
Well, guess
Okay.
what? Yes.
Yeah. 100K.
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 Okay, and this is spoiler alert. So if you're watching Agatha all along, spoiler alert.
Easy.
Oh.
Whoa.
He hasn't been
He
there
hasn't
yet.
seen it.
He hasn't been. No, don't.
Well,
don't.
I mean,
we're
I'm
gonna have to
far
let this
along.
one sail, dude. I don't,
come on.
come on. We cannot spoil it for Micah. I know you're talking about
All right.
season. You're talking about the 5th
Well,
episode.
wait. I'm caught up from last week. We're on Wednesday. The
Well,
next one's
something
tomorrow.
got accidentally leaked online this week about one of the characters.
Actually, it didn't get leaked because they did a mid-season trailer, and that's the first thing they do is they say the name.
Oh.
You know what? Knock yourself out.
Okay, well, the teen is Billy Maximoff.
Duh. It's Wiccan. We knew that from the very beginning.
You forgot who you were talking to.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
I'm so sorry.
He popped up on the screen. He's gay. He fits the profile. Everything is look, and it's just completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's totally Wiccan.
Yeah. He's wicked.
Here, he's that dude is wicked.
No, he's totally.
He's wicked smart.
He's Wiccan smart.
He's wicked
totally.
smart. That guy.
Totally.
Okay.
Bet he eats at Dunkin' Donuts.
So apparently Joker sucks hard.
I heard. I almost
Like
feel a little
Folie
bit bad.
Adu?
Yeah,
Wait.
really, really hard.
Wait, hang on. Who are you getting this information?
The
from?
whole internet.
all the haters.
First of all, after these look at the box office, it's projected to lose anywhere between 150 and 200 million dollars.
Ouch!
It is a complete flop.
Oh no!
Apparently, it's a very bad musical. Matter of fact, Paul Schrader, who is the Hollywood writer known for movies like Taxi Driver,
yeah.
he went to see it, and after about 15 minutes, he couldn't take it anymore, so he went up and got out and bought something, and then came back and lasted about another 10 minutes, and that was all he could take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the internet going a little bit nuts about how much they absolutely despised it, and
What
I mean,
a shame. The first one was so good.
It was. It was
was a lot of
amazing.
fun.
I'm actually kind of pissed about this because I had really high hopes for this one because the first one was just amazing.
yeah, diving into the psyche of Joker, it's kind of the same thing that the first Rob Zombie Halloween movie, where they really got into Michael Myers' head and explained why he did. Don't watch the other one, but
Yeah. Or any of those
That's
things.
a shame, man. I get
Yeah.
well. I mean, I'm at the age where I've got a limited number of movies I can see now before I die. So it's kind of nice to know I can skip that one.
is that why you panic every time? You need to see this series. Oh God.
Oh, 100%. Because the list that I have, and I have to add to it weekly because of you guys and because of my friends in the film and television business. It's like they're. And by the way, I take all of those recommendations seriously because they're coming from people whose opinions I trust about such things. And so, yeah, I mean, I've got, like, my phone literally said to me, we can't make this list any longer. You're going to have to start a new list.
Oh.
I'm like, no way. I've got X amount of... the phone was like, no, we're not doing it. You've got a problem. Knock some off the list. How about that? I'm trying. Yeah, anyway.
So speaking of series, real fast, this is an aside. Did you guys catch the season finale of Rings of Power?
No,
You haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I've been a little
All right.
busy with
Okay.
Agatha all along.
We're not
you know?
going to talk about it then.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
we'll
Are
hold
we?
on that one.
It was
are we-
pretty amazing.
I'm sure it will be. I can't wait. And that is it for this week's episode of Nerd News. You heard it here probably last, but you know what? apparently don't go see the new Joker movie. Bumming me out a little bit. All right, let's kick this off, boys. This week, it was my week to bring cigars. And I found one, and I can't believe we have not reviewed something from this brand before. It is not a boutique brand. It is a very popular brand of cigar. It's one of the brands that I started on when I started smoking cigars almost 8 years ago now. Oh, my God. By the way, I started smoking cigars when I was 50. Just FYI, getting old. This is why everything is a sense of urgency with me. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to tell you about this cigar. You probably heard the name before. This is the original blend that started this cigar line. It is a Nicaraguan puro, meaning it's all Nicaraguan. The wrapper, the binder, the filler. But these guys are notoriously stingy about giving out information, so we do not know what species of tobacco. I can tell you that all of this tobacco, once it comes out of the fermentation barn, still gets an additional 5 years of aging. So it's a yummy, yummy cigar. Nicaraguan Puro. This is the only cigar to date that has been certified 100% organic by the government of Nicaragua, because apparently it is next to impossible, because there's a lot of paperwork, and I'm sure money has to change hands or something or whatever. But these guys actually got that. That was important to them. They got that designation. You know, most cigar makers aren't going to spray their tobacco with a lot of pesticides and chemicals, because they know that guys like us will taste that shit.
Yeah.
But apparently it's just a bureaucratic nightmare. But it was important to this company, so it is right now, I think, the only 100% certified organic, and this is going to be the Plasencia Reserva Original.
All right.
That is going to be...
Original.
Sorry, I just spit all over the microphone.
Thank you, good sir.
Again, this is 100% Nicaraguan. I can tell you that this is going to be a cigar that is like right squarely in the medium range, so not as dark as Mr. Donahoe normally likes his cigars, but still very, very tasty, I believe. And so it's got a little pigtail on the cap, and they call this size, at least Plasencia calls this size, a Cortez. So it's a little bigger than a Robusto.
Yep.
It's not as big as a Toro.
Yep.
I feel like I'm in a pipe shop.
It's almost like a Perfecto.
It almost is like a Perfecto. Now I can't find my cutter.
I don't think I'm going to cut this.
You're just going to bite it off?
I don't think I need to. It's got a pigtail.
You going to pop it?
Yeah.
All right, well, I
want to see what the draw's like after I do it, but yeah.
All right, well, can I borrow your cutter?
Sure. I don't know how useful it's going to be with this particular.
Well, that's true.
There we go.
I mean, you could even do an old, what is it, Cuban cut on this one.
So that is,
it works.
That's leather and some.
Oh, let me light it. Sorry.
Oh, that's a good draw. That didn't even. Okay, cool.
No, it's although the foot is fluted, it is open. Well, it's smoking really nice. I'm getting some spice at the end of it, like a little bit of pepper, which is very typical for a Nicaraguan cigar.
I'm actually not, but we know my palate's jacked up.
Yeah, maybe you have long.
Oh, there it is. Now it's hitting.
In your back, way back, right?
Yeah. Took it a minute.
Can I borrow your lighter?
Okay, for our listeners, Micah loves to buy stuff, and he loves to buy cigar torches that are also, cutters and whatever. And he was just trying to use his newest acquisition, and it just isn't working. By the way, Micah, did you check to see if there was any butane in that thing?
I did. But
okay.
I don't know. I guess it doesn't like Brent.
I guess not. Well, what are your impressions?
Worked for me.
As you like there, buddy. Well, that is true. It did work for you. Leather and spice. That's what I'm getting.
Definitely leather. A little bit of earth. A little earthy. And then the spice is on the back of the tongue on the finish.
Mm-hmm. I'm also getting like a little bit of like medium roast coffee bean.
Yeah. I got a little something sweet on mine. I was going to go with a little bit of nutmeg.
Falls into the spice category.
Yeah.
By the way, I should point out to everyone who's listening to this podcast, we finally get to have layers on the patio.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Because it is a It is a mildly cool evening. It is fantastic out here.
I don't have my jacket on because I have natural layers.
He means he's hairy. He's really hairy.
No, I mean I'm chubby.
Oh, well, I was trying to bail you out there, buddy. But all right.
I'm naturally insulated, is what I'm trying to say.
So, who had bottle tonight? Michael, did you have bottle?
I do.
Hit us, buddy. What do you got for us?
So this one's a special one that I received from a friend that I've been wanting to save for the show.
Rocktown.
It is not Rocktown. It's
The return of
there's like
Rocktown.
four
Return of
pockets in here. It's a
Rocktown.
mystery one.
This time it's personal.
All right. So this one is out of Durango, Colorado.
Oh, hello.
That's a pretty bottle.
Thank you.
Is it from Durango? Oh, it's not from Durango Fine Spirits.
No, Durango, Colorado, from Honey House Distillery.
Okay.
Okay.
And let me get my notes. All right.
The reason that I asked is because I know a guy who runs a distillery in Durango, Colorado. It's called Durango Craft Spirits. Yeah.
That would have been an amazing coincidence.
Yeah.
Handcrafted in a custom beehive-shaped still.
Okay.
Using mountain spring water and locally harvested Colorado corn. Aged over 4 years in new, lightly charred American oak barrels. And it was 2021's American Distilling Institute's Bronze Award winner.
Okay. That's respect.
96 proof.
Woo.
How much ganja's in that mash bill?
I don't know. I actually tried to... You know what? I'm having the worst time trying to find mash bills for the things that I bring, but mostly because they're obscure from small distilleries.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about this is that I got really tired of not being able to find the mash bill on this. So I called the distillery. And the lady in customer service said, I don't know the answer to that. And I'm like, did I just call Minnesota?
Wow.
Oofda, yeah, you betcha.
Play the magic sound, Micah.
Oh, yeah. He's coming. Ready? Oh, wait. I should turn the label towards the camera.
You just got to be
It's almost there. It's almost there. A little more.
I'm going to toss the bottle.
Uh-oh. Now it's getting serious. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No. Okay. Got it.
Oh, I need a cigar.
That was a little scary there for a
That
second.
was a little scary.
This is not... Okay, well, we'll deal with that in a minute.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a common problem in stoppers over 40. You get a little bend there at the end.
That is a very tasty cigar.
Mm-hmm. Wow, the
Cool.
nose isn't nearly as powerful as I thought it would be for being what did you say, a 94 proof?
Yep. So, yes, this, again, is the Honey House Distillery Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Okay.
Barrel
Usually
aged.
at 90 and above, the first thing it does is singe my hairs out of my nose.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can fix that cork. I'll just do it.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
over
right
here.
there. So I'll go ahead and point that at the camera.
So,
All right.
Citrus. Lemony.
lemony,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
Here we go.
Caramel, vanilla. Holy smooth.
Yeah, the burn is very mild.
For a 90 plus, yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty smooth.
96. Oh, and that warm aftershock. I don't even know if I could call that an aftershock. It was just
It could be a stroke. We don't know yet. Do you smell burnt toast?
So one of the things that I know about this distillery is that they produce a lot of honey-infused whiskeys.
Is this that? Doesn't taste like it.
Nope, not at all. As a matter of fact, my buddy knows how much I appreciate straight bourbons and not messing around with a good thing. And they actually call their main still the Queen Bee.
They're very much in with the bee motif. Mm-hmm. The honeycomb.
Honey in general.
The honeycomb.
That's nice.
Is it painted like a
pod.
beehive?
I really like that a lot. That I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I'll tell you what. Next time I go to Durango, I'm looking to place up.
Yeah.
I will find them.
Honey
All right,
House.
so it's called Honey House, and this is their straight bourbon, and it's aged for a minimum of 4 years.
4
yes?
years. Actually,
Outstanding.
they claim over 4 years.
Okay. 4 plus, I'll accept that, but it could be like 4 years in a day.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like over 4 years can mean a lot of
4
things.
years in an hour.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's very good. That's a good start. All right, we've got our cigar. That is the Plasencia Reserva Original. And we've got our bourbon from Durango, Colorado, which this is the second Durango bourbon I've had, and it's really good.
Yum.
Now all we got to have is what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Williams.
Well, let's go back to 1999.
Okay.
A little show comes out on British television called Spaced. This is a British TV sitcom that is written by Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Jessica Hine, later Jessica Stevenson. And it's basically about Simon Pegg and Jessica Hine are two characters. They can't find a place to live. They end up renting a flat, but they have to pretend to be a married couple in order to rent it. And of course, Nick Frost is in it. And later on in the series, other people that appear, like in movies they do later, like Peter Serafinowicz. That's how you say his name? Peter Serafinowicz. He's in there. So there's an episode in this series called Art, and in that episode, Simon Pegg is high on amphetamines, and he's playing Resident Evil 2. And all of a sudden, he starts hallucinating that he's in a zombie movie, and he's walking around his apartment killing zombies with a shotgun. Right? Well, this scene turned out to inspire Edgar Wright and the movie they created together called Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, of course, is the first movie in the famous
Cornetto Trilogy. Yes.
So that's what we're talking about tonight. The Cornetto Trilogy.
Nice. So I got to say that as trilogies go, this is maybe one of my favorite modern trilogies.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. The main reason is each of the... So let's just talk about what the titles are. The first in the Cornetto Trilogy was Shaun of the Dead. The next one was a film called Hot Fuzz. And the third was called The World's End. And I can let Brent tell you about why they called it the Cornetto Trilogy. What I loved about this trilogy was that they were three completely different movies, but they had relationship similarities. And also, each of these movies was a love letter to a specific genre of film that Edgar and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost loved. The first being the zombie movie, the second being the buddy cop movie, and the third being Alien Invasion. And each one of them was completely original and super funny. And what else do you want to tell us about that?
Well, so I was watching an interview with Simon Pegg the other day, and he was saying that they actually did not set out to create a trilogy. When they made Hot Fuzz, they thought it'd be funny to throw some things in, or Shaun of the Dead, like the line, "You want anything from the shop?"
Right.
Cornetto, right? And the reason the Cornetto's in the movie is because Edgar Wright, that was a hangover cure for him. And the first time that Simon Pegg says that to Nick Frost is lying on the couch playing a video game. It's after they've been up drinking all night. And Simon Pegg goes, "You want anything from the shop?" Says Cornetto. And that's how it starts. So, and then running gags like trying to jump the fences and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
And then so by the time they got to World's End, they kept throwing those gags in, and people were like, "Well, you made a trilogy," because all these correlations. And Simon Pegg insists that was not the intention, was to make the trilogy. But whatever, he could just be completely trolling us because obviously it's a trilogy.
But also what I loved about the movies was the fact that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are the main characters in all three films.
Right.
Right.
The relationship changes depending on the film. In the first film, they are best buds. One is a layabout. One is mostly a layabout, but he's kind of trying to get his act together. In the second film, they are strangers who meet and through a series of trials eventually become best friends. And then in the third film, The World's End, they were buddies when they were young. There's a flashback at the beginning of the film. Then they are estranged for a lot of adulthood. And then finally, they grudgingly come back together and then ultimately have to become friends again through a series of trials.
That's one of the things that I loved about that was that each one of the characters that they both played were distinctly different from each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a complete personality shift or acting challenge there, but I mean, each one of the three characters that Simon and Nick played were just completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't think we actually officially mentioned the reason it's called it's actually called the Three Flavours Cornetto Trilogy. Because in Shaun of the Dead, the Cornetto wrapper is red to represent the blood. Hot Fuzz, they use the original blue wrapper to represent the police.
Yeah.
And then in World's End, it's green.
Yeah.
So
because aliens are green.
Because aliens.
Except these are blue.
Yeah, they are.
Blue ink.
Spoiler alert.
The blanks.
All right, so let's do this. Let's start off with each movie, and then we'll eventually get to our favorite movies and all that kind of stuff. Some interesting facts about Shaun of the Dead, the first one, right? So, like I said, the actress from Spaced, Jessica Hines, a.k.a. Jessica Stevenson, she played Yvonne. And the funny part about that is the first time Simon Pegg runs into her, he's walking in I believe it's his mom's neighborhood, and she's like, he goes, "You live around here?" She goes, "Yeah, I just bought a flat, or I just bought a house. Mm-hmm. How adult am I, right?" And the point of the Spaced series was they were trying to find flats to rent, right?
Right.
So, anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. And this was Nick Frost's first film. He actually had very little acting experience. So what happened was, Simon Pegg met Nick Frost. He was a waiter at a restaurant.
Yeah.
They met. They became great friends. Nick Frost had done a couple sketches for British TV, and that was it. Simon Pegg got him onto Spaced, where he plays this crazy military type guy. He thinks he's Rambo and stuff.
That's great.
Pretty funny. And that was his first real acting job. And then so Shaun of the Dead became his first actual full-length movie. So it's pretty cool. Helen Mirren turned down the role of Shaun's mother, citing she wanted to play funnier roles.
Oh, man. Dang it.
But
I wonder if
for
she
us.
looks back on that and goes, shoot.
Every actor, I'm sure, has that.
Yeah.
Shoot. Which is funny because Helen Mirren went on to star in the action comedies Red and Red 2.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was awesome
She
in
was
those.
fantastic. I do like the lady they got to play his mom, though. I mean,
What was her name?
in Shaun of the Dead? I don't know her.
I don't remember her name, but she was in Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
but
she's
just
been in lots of stuff.
just a down home mom that was all really sweet and
I don't want to be a
like,
bother.
I know chaos is erupting around them. Like it is just absolutely insane chaos.
That's such a
all
British
around. And
thing.
she's
I don't
just
want to be a
I don't wanna
bother.
be a
She's like,
bother.
can I make some sandwiches? I know she didn't say that, but
The other thing is the scene where they're throwing the records at the zombies.
Yes.
When they first discover the zombies and they're throwing these records.
please say they went to like Half Price Books and picked up all
No.
the crappy.
Only 2 artists gave them permission to show their album covers. That's why the only ones you see are New Order and Sade.
That's interesting.
No one else gave them
interesting.
permission. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So that again, I think that's probably a regret that a lot of musicians
Yeah.
have right now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh damn,
Yeah.
made $30 million on a $6 million budget.
yeah.
Yeah,
Batman original soundtrack.
that's so great. For a little while, Wright and Pegg talked about writing a sequel called From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
But it never. It was usually tongue in cheek and never really happened. But the movie still got a bit of life. In Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you can see a poster From Dusk Till Dawn in Times Square. Yeah. And it inspired a lot of knockoff movies. One of the most notable is a Spanish-Cuban movie called Juan of the Dead.
Juan of the Dead.
Juan of the Dead.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, just
Well,
some interesting facts.
so let's talk about that actual movie because each of these films I feel like was Edgar, Simon, and Nick, mostly Edgar's love letter to a specific genre of film that they loved. But what I also enjoyed about each of these films, but let's start with Shaun of the Dead, was that they used a lot of the tropes from the zombie apocalypse movies, but then it's just, some blokes in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So one of the things I love about exploring, like, let's just keep within the zombie genre, is that, we've seen, AMC, The Walkers.
Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. Why did that not come into my head? But then you had the awesome game The Last of Us. You've had, there's been all kinds of zombie movies and zombie games and whatever. And the fact that they approached this with just, I believe it was Isaac Asimov who said, science fiction is nothing other than ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances.
Right.
And what I love about it is, our characters undergo a little bit of a change. Like not so much of a change, but they realize they're capable of more than they thought. But at the end of the movie, they're pretty much the same people, aside from Nick Frost's character, who is actually also kind of the same as he was at the beginning of the film.
Right.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
But it's just the idea of, how people respond to extraordinary circumstances, and it's just like it's some blokes. And of course, where's the safest place to go in the zombie apocalypse?
The bar.
The pub.
The pub.
Yeah, we're going to go to the pub.
Yeah.
Everything is always about the pub.
Yeah.
All three films have that in common as well.
Right.
It's all like, and then because every time, like even in Hot Fuzz, it's like, what do you want to do? I don't know, pub. And then, of course, at World's End, they're trying to get to 12 pubs
Right.
and recreate a moment in time back when they were kids.
Well, Nick Frost, his character in Shaun of the Dead, one of the things I really liked about him is that he had a level of complacency to him at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And towards the end, his slight character shift was his ability to save his friends, protect his friends, be that last one out. And I don't know if that was just a nod to the video game he was playing, like before he got, before the zombie apocalypse came up. But the other thing that I really, really liked about the movie was the amount of obliviousness that the characters had in the very beginning.
Yes.
Like when the zombies start to really pop up and they're doing strange stuff in the background, which is the best part of the movie for me, at least, is watching these things happen. And Simon Pegg going that
just
one
going
morning
to the shop.
Yeah, he's going to the shop while the world's coming to,
and he's not noticing anything. I mean, I love it when he even opens up the refrigerator to get a Coke. There's like bloody footprints
exactly.
on there.
Just ignores
and he's just totally ignoring it. He's opening, he's looking, he's getting his Coke out. And then he like slips in the aisle as he's walking and just keeps going.
He puts his money on the counter.
Well, if you remember at the beginning of the film, when he gets up out of bed, you think maybe he's a zombie. And then you just realize he's a worker drone who's just going through the motions, doing his thing.
Yep.
Now there's no I in team. There is an I in pie, as in meat pie. Meat is an anagram of team. Like he was trying to be a manager.
Yes.
But at the end of the day,
you got red on you.
That was a wonderful nod.
Oh, the very idea of taking a genre that has been done to death. Even back then, it had been kind of done to death. No pun intended. But what I love about great writer-directors like Edgar Wright is their ability to make you look at the genre in an entirely different way.
Right.
And he did that with all three of these films, I thought.
Right.
Because you and I, and I'm pointing at Brent Williams now, both agree that the best buddy cop movie of all time is the next one.
Yeah. Well, staying on Shaun of the Dead real quick, there's the scenes where the first scene this happens is Simon Pegg is looking out of the mail slot at the door. They're thinking they're going to make a run for the car, and Ed's asking him, "Are there any zombies out there?" And he goes, "Don't say that." He goes, "What? The Z word. Don't say that." And the whole reason for that is because that's a nod to Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg's favorite movies, including 28 Days, Dawn of the Dead, all that. In all the real famous zombie movies, the word zombie is never mentioned.
Never used.
It's never used.
Yeah.
Right?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I can't recall how many times in Shaun of the Dead I actually heard the word.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was the whole point of that. It was kind of a nod to that.
Well, shall we move on to
Hot
the
Fuzz.
next one?
To Hot Fuzz.
So without question, Hot Fuzz is my favorite of the three.
Yes.
I've watched Shaun of the Dead maybe a dozen times, World's End maybe 11 times. Hot Fuzz, I try to watch it once a month since it came out.
I've watched it 3 times in the past 2 days.
And we're just calling that research, buddy.
Yeah, that's just research.
But this was Edgar Wright's nod to the buddy cop genre. If you tuned in to the buddy cop episode and action cop episode that Micah gave for us a few episodes ago, you already know that for me and Brent, Hot Fuzz is our hands down favorite of all of them. And for me, it was my favorite because it was a genre that I deeply love, and clearly they did too. And it was like this great homage. It was all the tropes. It was everything from toward, in the third act when Simon Pegg basically has been saved by Nick Frost, and he drives him out of town, just tells him to go back to London, that this giant conspiracy that's going on in this small town, there's nothing he can do about it. And he gets into the convenience store, and he suddenly says, like, no, he makes up his mind. And the minute he does that and he starts talking to the convenience store kid, his voice drops like this. No, this is something I got to do on my own.
Yeah.
And that's how it is for like the rest of that scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's all these little tropes in there. But again, it was like the original way that they did it. The casting is just genius. Okay, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, but you also had Bill Nye, who was the superintendent.
Yeah.
who's this clueless, arrogant London Met guy.
Yeah.
You had all
Martin
these
Freeman.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just
and his girlfriend Janine. You know who that was?
Oh, it was Kate Blanchett, right?
Blanchett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just loved everything about that movie. It was like the minute the trope came, you knew it was coming. You were like, yeah, they did that.
Which, by the way, Simon Pegg insists the movie is not a parody.
No, it's not a parody at all.
He actually says it's an action movie that happens to have comedy in it.
Yeah, I mean, in no way, even the first time I saw it at the theater, in no way did I think of it as a parody.
Yeah.
It was a love letter to the entire buddy cop genre. You could see elements of, think of any, like go back to like the Lethal Weapons and the 48 Hours and the you can see elements of all the stuff that came before in that movie, but in this very new and fun way, where this little village of Sanford is run by this evil cabal of really nice people who want to make Sanford the best community in the world, and they're willing to kill anyone who threatens that.
So, by the way, that village was actually Edgar Wright's hometown. That's where they filmed it.
No kidding.
However, in England, a village is a town without a church. So there's a huge cathedral in that town, so they had to digitally erase the cathedral. You better give Larry some more whiskey.
Micah, I've been waving at you for 5 minutes. Could I have a little more, please?
But what I was saying was so enthralling.
It was enthralling. If I hadn't been trying to get more whiskey, I would totally have been watching you. But I was instead trying to get whiskey. So wait, so the church scene, I guess that was filmed at a different location because that clearly was a church because he runs up it and everything.
That's a good question. I think maybe it was outside. Yeah.
So you're talking about like the exteriors and stuff.
When they show the village, little township. Yeah.
I also love, and I love this in all three of these movies. The soundtrack is the bomb.
Yeah.
They choose the best songs. Like when he first gets to Sanford and he gets up the next morning and he's jogging and it's the Kinks' Village Green. Mm-hmm. Like it's just perfect. Everything was perfect. Yeah. So the only other director I think who's maybe as good or better than Edgar Wright at picking the songs for a movie is James Gunn. Because go all the way back to the first Guardians. Like those are the best soundtracks.
Well, the name Nicholas Angel that
Nicholas Angel.
It was actually that's the actual name. He took it as kind of an homage to the musical director for all three movies. His name is Nick Angel.
I did not know that. Yeah. Nerd alert.
Nerd alert. Yeah. And so the Jim Broadbent, who plays the inspector in Sanford.
Yeah.
Right. So he's a very famous British actor.
Yeah.
Like in Britain, he's
Jim Broadbent played Danny's father, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He was the chief inspector.
Right. He was Horse Slughorn in Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
Yes.
That's
right.
The teacher that collected.
It was kind of like this.
Yeah. And he actually begged to be in that movie. He ran into Simon Pegg. He was a huge fan of Shaun of the Dead. Ran into Simon Pegg at some award show. I want to say it's the BAFTAs or something. And just practically begged him. And so that character was created specifically for Jim Broadbent.
And it was brilliantly done because he was perfect in that role.
Yeah, I agree.
And the
let's just say the station's not going to be short of Chunky Monkey for the next month. Oh, Dad!
And at the end, with the judges that come in, the adjudicators that come in, that is Simon Pegg's mom, Edgar Wright's mom, and Simon Pegg's, I believe it was either high school or college theater teacher.
Oh my God, that's so awesome!
Yeah.
This is what I love about when you reach a certain level in film, you can do those kinds of things. Hey, Mom, you want to do a cameo in my movie? I mean, how awesome would that be?
Oh yeah.
I would do, like, by the way, I've still never met, I'm pointing at Micah now. I've never met your wife, Val, but based on everything you've told her, I would want her to do a cameo in my movie. I would just like, I need 1 day of your time.
You
just
be careful.
1 day.
She'll teach you how to film.
Well, I'm okay with that too. Then we see the credits. It says directed by Larry Scratch. Val.
It'll just be Val.
Yeah, just Val. I'm just Val. Let's share.
Speaking of cameos too, in the opening montage, the Santa, the Father Christmas that stabs him in the hand, that's Peter Jackson.
You're kidding.
No, it's Peter Jackson.
I didn't know that.
So I guarantee you that happened the same way the Broadbent story went.
Probably.
It was like, hi, mate. Could I maybe, be in your next one, you and Edgar? It'd be... Well, we've got this thing where, like, Father Christmas stabs me in the hand. Perfect! I'm not going to be Father Christmas.
The guy that plays Michael,
Rory
McCann.
Rory McCann,
He was the Hound in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Same guy. Yarp.
I love that guy.
So funny.
That guy, I mean, think about the difference between Lurch and the Hound.
And then his other line.
That dude's got some range.
Like his other line. Narp.
Michael, is this what you really want?
Yarp.
Yarp.
Oh, it was so great. And then, oh gosh, we talked about this, and now her name is escaping me. But the actor who played the one female at the station.
Oh yeah,
who has won an Academy Award.
Yeah,
that's how good she is.
She's in The Bear. She opens what's her restaurant called?
I can't remember.
That's right. She's the one that
you guys have been watching that show.
Yeah,
right? I have not.
Season 3, she closes her restaurant.
Yeah, she closes it. They had a what do they call it?
Funeral.
A funeral.
Yeah.
And so they brought in all of the chefs that have ever trained under her, and one of the things I loved about that was that she was so humble, and to see her in Hot Fuzz. That was really entertaining because she wasn't playing anything like that other character that I'd seen before.
Her character was so hilarious because, all she ever did was just say raunchy things.
Yeah, well, she is the epitome of a woman trying to kind of fit into a completely male police force.
Olivia Colman.
Oh, you beat me to it. Your IMDb skills are
Olivia Colman. Yeah, she was absolutely amazing.
She was so funny. Ugh.
I
love when she runs when they're in the grocery store and they're trying to get those people behind the counter, and that girl runs up to her with the knife and she takes that metal pan and just beats her. Like a little girl on girl action.
Like even in the middle of a firefight, they can do that. They can make those jokes.
Yeah.
We want to talk about first third on this?
Yeah,
let's
do.
That would be a good thing to do.
As I'm ending my first third.
Yeah.
We were just enjoying the conversation, that's all. All right, boys, so what are you thinking of the Plasencia Reserva Original?
I'm really enjoying it. I can see that I'm going a little bit faster than the both of you, but the I'm getting this milk chocolate caramel.
Yeah, the spice has kind of gone away from me.
Yeah, the spice went away.
It's a creamier mouthfeel now.
Yes.
No chocolatey, caramely. I totally get that. Still a little bit of earth and leather.
Smooth.
Very smooth.
Just smooth, yeah. This is really good. I don't know. What do you think of the pairing, you guys?
I'm liking it
pretty
a
good.
lot.
I'm liking it, yeah.
I feel like this is a really good medium cigar. It's not too heavy. I'm really enjoying that. And this bourbon is not a really invasive punch you in the face bourbon either.
This is like a nice evening on the patio. We just happen to have microphones
the
in
bourbon,
front of our face.
has a very I want to say a thick flavor profile.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's
okay.
I mean, but it's not, but it's very rich.
I really feel like I've got a little redemption going on this bottle too. Ever since I presented the Rocktown.
Hey, we look. That was one of the funnest episodes we ever did.
I'm telling you, Rocktown was the star.
It was
of that
the
episode.
star of that episode, hands down. And we can't blame you for that, Micah. We can only say thank you for giving us something to talk about.
I mean, I think every once in a while we need to throw something like that in the mix. Like next time I'll bring like some Buchanan 12 year or something.
Buchanan?
Ugh. You ever had that stuff?
No.
It's horrible.
Well, then let's not do that.
I mean, if you do that,
the only reason that I know where you're going.
We can't
go ahead and say it anyway.
We can't knowingly bring bad.
No,
whiskey.
you cannot knowingly bring bad whiskey or bad cigars. No Swisher Sweets.
No. But I was actually thinking maybe if we do that, then I can bring that bottle of Quality House Heaven Hill.
Oh my gosh! Please, I will punch you in the throat at the door before you even make it in the house.
You know what?
And I'm going to kick you in the balls.
That's fine. I will come to the party with sore everything and say, by the way, I brought this.
So I got to tell you the story about that. I bought that after we did the episode with Heaven Hill, which I think was our first one, and we had Guys Weekend up in Broken Bow.
Yep.
Pulling into town, I find this little liquor store, and I'm like, I want to see if they got some Heaven Hill. And there's not a lot of options when you're outside of like Ho Chi Town and stuff. So anyway, I find this liquor store, I go in there, and I'm pretty sure that everyone in that store is related and not in a good way.
And we weren't even in Arkansas.
That's right.
She's got 3 eyes, but the prettiest singing voice you ever heard.
Anyway, so I asked her, I said, "You guys have Heaven Hill?" And she goes, "Yeah, we got Heaven Hill." And she goes, down there on the bottom shelf. Well, that should have been my first red flag. It's on the bottom shelf. And she goes,
Thanks,
I said,
I'll see myself
and
out.
it's like it looks like it's in a Jack Daniels bottle, but it's got a white label on it. And it says Bardstown, Heaven Hill, everything.
Yeah.
And she goes, they changed the label, but it's still the same stuff.
Yeah, you wrong, lady.
She was completely wrong.
You wrong.
Yeah.
I brought that to the house, and we cracked that open and tried, and everyone immediately started losing their insides.
Yeah.
And so doing a little research, I found out that's the old original recipe of Heaven Hill.
Yep.
It's not the recipe that we tasted. They actually did a lot of work and improved it.
Yeah,
Made
and
it really good.
You're absolutely right. And
Yeah.
that was the information that I got off of the bottle the very first time that we were doing it, that Heaven Hill had been an established brand for a really long time. And then all of a sudden they're like, let's do some bottle and bond. Let's revamp a little bit. And they made that masterpiece that we had first.
Was it like Malort? Was it that bad?
Okay.
Have you ever had Malort?
I don't think I've had Malort.
It is, okay, let's say we are about 2 hours into the evening, drinking all night, can't really taste buds or feelings anymore. And that's when you bring that bottle out and say, all right, let's finish this, because you wouldn't know any
And
better.
still,
You know what? Yeah, I think I would. I think I would.
I did it. I remember when you brought that
And
over.
if I'm in the middle of
I brought it over here.
I know, when
we
you
tried
brought
it
it
here,
here,
yeah.
I was
if I'm
like,
in the
I guess
middle
I'm
of a
gonna
long
pregame.
night of drinking, and somebody introduces a bottle like that, which forces me to go outside and violently vomit up all of the good liquor I've had, I'm holding a grudge.
I felt like I was having one of those like early teen Mad Dog 2020
Whoa.
moments without all the flavor.
Just the burning.
Yeah, just
Oh,
put some
it's
grape
so
juice
bad.
in
And
there.
I'm tasting it, I'm like, I might as well just be drinking freaking Everclear.
All right, so let's get to the third film of the Cornetto Trilogy. This was an alien love letter, so about the whole aliens invasion genre, called The World's End. Now, the premise of this film is that at the beginning of the film, you had these this group of guys that were all best friends, and they decided on their last day of school that they were going to go in their little town, and they were going to hit what they called the Golden Mile. And that meant 12 pubs, and they were going to do one pint at all 12 pubs. And then they were going to do one pint.
Yarp. I heard that one from the depths, man. That one
Came from my shoes. They were going to do one pint at all 12 pubs, and
They only made it through like 9.
They
right?
made it. Well, some of them made it to 10, and
Yeah.
then they had to give up. And so now, fast forward, now they're all adults approaching 40, and Simon Pegg's character, who's very different from the first two films,
Right.
He is now the layabout. He is the
Right.
guy who's never done anything with his life. He decides that the only way that he can like get any satisfaction out of his life is to get the band back together and to recreate the Golden Mile. Only this time they're going to hit all 12 pubs.
So for the record, this is my all-time favorite of the 3.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
Do tell.
All right, so one of the
Okay.
things that you mentioned earlier was that Simon Pegg made a specific point to say that these are not comedies. Comedy just happens, right?
He said they're not parodies.
I'm
Right.
paraphrasing. So, but based on that, I chuckled so hard through the whole movie. I loved everything
I did
about
too.
it. I liked the tropes that they brought from the past 2 movies, which made those even funnier along the way. Because
There was in one of the pubs, did you hear it? The video game
Yep.
sound?
Yep.
It
Yep. That was purposeful.
So-
was almost like in every Spielberg film, you have to hear the Wilhelm scream.
yes.
Yeah.
We all know what the Wilhelm
Yeah.
scream
Yeah.
is, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry to interrupt you, Micah. Go on with your love of...
Yeah, and one of the things I loved about that was that the fight scenes were a lot more fun, especially
My
when you
God!
see, when
They
you
were so
see the
fun.
heads pop and like they're so you think that these aliens are going to give them a seriously hard time, you know? But instead, it's like rip an arm off and pop their head with it kind of situation. There was so much more comedy in this one for me than all the others.
Well, but those weren't the actual aliens. They were just the replicants.
yeah, okay.
Way to step on his magic, man.
Sorry,
Yes.
man. I'm sorry.
Once again, Brent comes through.
No, it was just really it was a lot.
Yeah, I love
of
it. Nick Frost became like Rambo in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Well,
You know?
to me, it was more like the Hulk.
Yeah.
oh,
But it was
yes.
like, because, at the beginning of the film, he is the guy who got his life together. He buttoned up.
yes.
He
stopped drinking.
He stopped drinking, like all those things.
And on that note,
And you come to find out later, of course, that his wife left him 2 weeks ago, and his life is actually falling apart. But he eventually, he's like Popeye with the spinach, except that's how he is with booze. So there's that one scene where they finally find out that
That's after they fought him in the bathroom.
After they fought him in the bathroom,
Yeah.
and like the whole town's been taken over by these they call them robots, and they're like, we got to get out of town. Well, he's the only sober guy, and they turn and the camera switch pans, and he's doing every single shot at the table in a row. Boom, 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 boom.
I loved it.
And he just like, and that I agree with you. The fight sequences in this one were great.
Oh yeah. I mean, I absolutely love the shootout in like the final shootout in Hot Fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to World's End, I just there's something special. I never got bored with it. It was not somebody just getting shot over and over and over again. Or
what I thought was hysterical though about Hot Fuzz, and again, this is a trope that they took way back from like the early movies, was that everybody got shot somewhere that was non-lethal.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody was getting shot in the shoulder or the leg or whatever, and it was like, oh, they're all going down.
Well, Simon Pegg, a good cop. I mean, if you're gonna shoot somebody, make sure you can arrest him later.
But the bar fights that were just
so
fantastic. They were really, really good.
like belligerent kids all over the place.
I don't know if you noticed the names of the pubs. Edgar Wright named each one with a specific purpose, and it was what they would encounter in that pub.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that.
So that's
never
why
made
that's
that
why the
connection.
last one is called World's End, because
Right.
that's where
The world is gonna end.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where the
Decisions.
aliens actually were. They had their ship underground and whatever.
Right. Yeah.
With a great elevator.
So I don't know if you noticed, but like when they walk into the first pub, and it's very bland, and they're like, "Oh, they haven't changed anything," and they're talking about all the things that have changed, right? And they were talking about how they've been Starbucking everything. Mm-hmm. So that was a little bit foreshadowing. When they go to the next pub, you notice it's the exact same thing.
The exact same pub,
So
yeah.
that's a little bit foreshadowing on what the aliens are trying to do.
Right.
Right. They're Starbucking the planet.
Right.
So that it can be in the Galactic Alliance or whatever.
And now
it's
that you
called.
say trusty servant, now it totally makes sense, because it was that one guy that knew everybody. It's like, welcome, lads. It's
Yeah.
good to have you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. What is Starbucking?
Making everything the same.
It's corporatizing everything.
Okay.
You know.
I'm sorry. My
So
only
it's-
reference
it's-
to
it's
Starbucking
take-
is
it's taking
Battlestar
a-
Galactica.
Oh, a different kind of Starbucks.
No, that's a very different reference. That's a very different reference.
Yeah, that involves stem pills and
And consent. It involves consent.
well, if you notice, so you know when they finally meet, what's that guy's name? The guy that plays Filch. You know they have all the same characters.
Oh
and same
yeah,
things,
yeah.
right?
He's like one of the untainted.
Yeah.
Except this time you could actually understand what he said,
Right.
As opposed to Hot Fuzz, where they had to get an interpreter.
Right.
That does what it isn't.
I love that scene, by the way. It had 3 levels of translation. I had
Yes,
to go through
yeah.
for him to understand.
What do we need the dog for? It's not the dog we need.
But so in the scene in the opening where they're still young and they're going to start their mile, when they're looking out at the sky, you can see the shooting star coming, and the shooting star is the aliens.
Oh, by the way, can we just talk about Rosalind Pike for a minute? Man, oh man, I like her.
She birdie.
She had party. Ain't no lie, bro. She party. Oh, and then what was the sandwich they talked about with
Marmalade
the
sandwich.
Marmalade sandwich.
The 2 blondes and the redhead in the middle. Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. There are actually some dramatic moments in that movie,
Sure.
especially in Act 3, where Nick Frost's character, is it Andy? I think it's
Phil? No, Gary.
Gary.
No, I'm sorry. Nick Frost is Andy. I'm
He
sorry,
is
you're right.
Andy.
Yeah, Simon
Thank
Pegg
you
is Simon
for
Pegg is
making me
Gary
doubt
King.
myself.
Yeah, sorry.
Gary has made it to the world's end, and he's bound and determined to draw that last pint. And Andy comes in, and they get into a big fight, and he finally says, "Why is this so important to you?" And Gary, Simon Pegg's character, says, "It's all I have." And it was a very dramatic moment.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love about Edgar Wright's ability to A, write and B, direct is that he can do this in comedy movies. He can still push, and another guy I think is actually really good at this is Sean Levy, who's the Deadpool director.
Yeah.
Is their ability to put humanity into what would otherwise just be a romp film.
Well,
a la Porky's.
But
or
it
something.
wouldn't work if you didn't have an actor that could pull it off.
100%.
And Simon Pegg is one of those actors.
He is. Yeah. He's very, very good.
Yeah.
But I also think that Nick Frost doesn't get enough credit
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
for what he's able to
he's
do in
great,
those
yeah.
scenes. Especially if you look at the 3 different characters he played in the movies, because they were all wildly different.
Yeah, totally versatile. I loved it.
So
yeah, I love how he's basically the straight man in the third one.
he is.
That's so funny.
Until he hulks out.
Yeah, until he hulks out.
Goes crazy.
Yeah.
Can we? Well, we need to get to the second third of this cigar because Mike is almost finished.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna be sucking this nub.
So this has mostly stayed the same. It's still very smooth.
Smooth, chocolatey.
Oh, I hit the microphone. I'm so sorry.
I love it. No peppery. No peppery. This is just so smooth.
I'm getting 0 pepper.
Yeah, I mean, right in the beginning, which doesn't make any sense to me because I'm a lot closer to the draw now.
There's a smidge of spice, but it's not pepper. I would say it's almost like cinnamon.
Yeah, it is. It is something that's more custom. It's more like a baking spice, some kind of baking.
I'm
spice.
still gonna go with the nutmeg.
It's fine with me
because I'm getting something a little sweet, like but not super sweet. Just like a tinge, if you will.
Okay.
I think for me it would be like baker's chocolate. Like there's the hint of chocolate, but we've had cigars that are like dark chocolate or milk chocolate. Like that's a very prominent note, and this is just more like a hint.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's mostly like leather and that spice. I still get a little bit of that coffee bean.
Yeah. Yep.
Shall we get to the part where we talk about our favorite film of the Cornetto Trilogy, or is there something else you want to say?
I know. I can tell you the order that you and I enjoy the films.
I guarantee you have the order correct.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Hot Fuzz.
Yep.
Shaun of the Dead.
Wrong.
World's End.
What? Wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh.
World's End is slotted second for me, and Shaun of the Dead the third. I love them all.
Yes.
But that is my order.
Yeah.
Okay.
World's End, Hot Fuzz, then Shaun of the Dead.
Okay, so you and I agree on Shaun of the Dead.
We do, well, I mean,
put him in
go,
the 3 slot.
I go backwards.
Well, but I'm saying you
3,
and I
2,
both
1.
have Shaun of the Dead in the 3 slot.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said that Hot Fuzz was your second.
No, Hot Fuzz is my first.
All right.
And then World's End, and he is
Right,
Hot Fuzz,
right.
Shaun
You're
of the
good.
Dead. So we're all 3 actually different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I don't
interesting.
think that's ever happened before.
No.
Yeah. You know what? And you guys have seen them so much more than I have. I've seen Shaun of the Dead twice.
I love that you were able to recall as much as you did, having only seen that movie twice.
Yeah. Hot Fuzz 3 times. World's End, like at least 7.
A bunch of times.
A bunch of times. I just absolutely love it. The exchanges, the jokes.
Here's
the repeats of the tropes.
Yes. Here's the other thing I loved about World's End. It was a legit ensemble cast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which the first 2 were not.
Right.
And they again, it's all about the casting, right? It's all about guys who have good chemistry and work well together. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of the actors in World's End had previously worked together on Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, Marsden was the new actor in
Yes.
the group, and then Rosalind Pike hadn't been
Right.
there yet.
But the scenes when they're talking about the situation that they're in, and then they just kind of like go off track for a minute, and then this and that, and then they're talking about, and then he misunderstood what, like the timing of that, the snappiness of the dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
But the timing, the writing is only as good as can you actually pull it off on camera. I thought that those guys were so good at that.
Right.
Yeah. World's End jokes for me. The jokes. Oh my gosh. And they were such fast quips that I actually, a couple of times when I was watching it at home, I'd have to pause it so I could finish my chuckle so I wouldn't hear the next one that was piggybacked on there.
Oh, that is so annoying to me.
So I don't know if you noticed this,
I'm by myself.
but
so what?
when they have discussion about, so King Arthur is actually a running theme throughout that movie. It's mentioned several times and they talk about it. And I don't know if you noticed that the knights of the characters, Gary King, Stephen Prince, Andy Knightley.
I did not.
Yeah.
See, this is why I like having these moments with you guys, especially with as much as you love these particular sets of movies. I mean, to hear those little details are just priceless.
Yeah. No, it's a great movie. I absolutely love it. I mean, one of my favorite scenes is when Nick Frost punches that girl in the stomach to get his wedding ring back.
Oh, yeah. Because she says, I want you inside me.
He's like, okay.
Bam!
Yeah. That was such a great movie.
I just punched my way through a robot to get my wedding ring back.
Oh, and the voice of the alien at the end is, of course,
Stephen Fry.
no, Bill Nye.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because he's in all 3 movies too.
Yes, he is.
How great was it though that when the aliens decide to say didn't they end it with F it?
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
say F it. They say F it, and then
so running theme was every time he tried to argue with Gary King, it always ended.
Andy would say, "You can't argue with him."
There's no arguing with you. There's just no arguing with you, and that's what Bill Nye says. There's just no arguing with you.
And when they say, "That's how the planet was saved,"
and that was so great about. So once they say F it, and the aliens actually pull out, we find out that they're the core of our infrastructure,
right?
And so they leave, and then we all go back to the Dark Ages.
The world falls apart.
That was greatness. Yep.
Which, not too far removed. We did do a Matrix episode, so
Yep.
I'm just saying, don't knock Starbucks too hard.
Come on, tell me you guys like the picture of the kitty cat and that girl's glasses.
Oh yeah,
come on,
yeah, that was good. That was a nice choice. There was something I was going to say about Hot Fuzz. I totally forgot. So some of the homages they paid to, matter of fact, Bad Boys at the very end, where you see the up camera shot of them and the helicopters coming.
The helicopter going across.
Straight out of Bad Boys.
That is a direct shot.
Yeah, straight out of Bad Boys.
That is a shot for shot.
I love that they do, and I love.
Have you ever fired your gun in the air?
Yeah.
And there was that scene where he couldn't shoot his dad, and he does the Keanu Reeves thing.
Yeah, and I just love when he comes to town and they think he's just a super cop, and Nick Frost's character just can't get enough, and he's even in elementary school and he's doing a presentation to the kids. And Nick Frost is like, is it true? There's a place in a man's head if you shoot it, his brain just explodes out.
I almost watched Point Break after that was over, but I resisted the urge.
Oh,
why?
It's actually a decent movie.
It's okay.
No, it's a great film.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
We talked about it as a buddy cop because it was Gary Busey and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
They had they were great together. Utah, get me 2.
Not as good as Dennis Hopper and Keanu Reeves.
Wait, Gary Busey?
Gary Busey.
Point Break.
Yeah,
I'm referring to Speed.
Angelo Pappas.
Speed. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I was thinking, Patrick Swayze is the bad guy in the movie.
Well,
and I'm talking about the buddy cop part of it.
Yeah.
Wait, is Patrick Swayze that bad?
He's just a free spirit.
He is.
Who robs banks and kills people.
And surfs.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
I was just really glad that they let him go out and surf that big-ass wave. And didn't he die?
Oh, he totally did.
All right.
Well, they kind of left it open. If they wanted to do a sequel, they had room to do a sequel.
They did have room to do
because it's not definitive that he dies.
Right. It's kind of like Shane.
Yeah.
Was he actually dead?
Was he?
Yeah. That's a scene I love in Hot Fuzz, where he goes to the little enclave and he tries to arrest everybody, and then they start chasing him. He's running and he falls down and he falls into that RV that's buried underground.
Yes.
So he sees all the dead people, like all those dead kids, and
he can hear in his head all the great big bushy beard and whatever.
Yeah, that was so funny. And one of the funniest scenes too is when he first gets to town and he busts everybody in the pub.
That was
all the kids.
Good. All those kids.
Well, I see you've already arrested the old village.
He's looking around the pub and there's everybody looks like maybe 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, 1 or 2 may be a few months south of proper, but the way we see it is for the greater good. Would you like another cranberry juice?
No, I'm good. Yeah,
I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
Yep. So good.
Hot Buzz number 1.
Yeah, definitely.
World's End number 1.
Yeah, and I just love how they have all the same actors in all the movies. That's so great.
Honestly, it makes a lot of sense. And so again, I'm speaking now as a producer. It makes sense because you already have a history with these guys.
Yeah.
You know what they're going to bring. And so why wouldn't you? It's almost like having a repertory company, like a group of actors that are like in theater, they have what they call repertory companies. So there's a pool of actors,
right?
And they still have to audition for the parts that they're going to play, but you're going to use these guys and they're going to be awesome,
right?
Yeah.
So you have to have especially in World's End, the introduction of Rosalind Pike, which I thought was genius, and especially because there were, it was Gary and was it Steven who was also competing for her love?
Steven, who was Peter? No, Peter was Marsden.
I can't.
Peter, because the cop is going, have a good night, Peter.
Yeah, he admits that he had a thing for her back in the day, but he was afraid to say anything. Yeah, I just thought it was fantastic, and so different from his character in Hot Fuzz, where he was one of the Andes.
Yeah, right. The mustache.
You've got a mustache. I know.
You know what's funny? My favorite trope in all of them is hurdling fences.
Oh yes,
it is my all-time
oh my gosh.
favorite. Do you guys have any other favorite tropes?
That's got to be my favorite of all the three because and like we a little
Have
bit.
you taken a shortcut before?
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead set it up, but then in Hot Fuzz you've got you've got Nicholas Angel, like he flips over the last one,
Right.
and then Nick Frost, who insisted on doing his own stunts, by the way,
Love it.
just crashes into the wall, and then it's not until like midway, like second or even the beginning of the third act, where Gary tries to jump over the fence and he jumps on it and just the whole thing just falls over.
That was so great.
And did you see what was right in front of him? It was like a bunch of porta potties.
Yeah.
It's like you're jumping his shit.
Oh, another scene I thought was great in Shaun of the Dead is when they're on their way to the Winchester and they pass the other group that Yvonne's leading.
Yes.
And as they pass each character, it's like the same character.
Yes.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah.
My favorite line in Shaun of the Dead from Yvonne was, "Good luck." You can do that.
Yeah. Bye.
What are some of the
His
other
girlfriend.
What are some of the other tropes that extended past the fence thing? I recognize them when I see them, but you guys have this memorized a lot.
Well,
better than I
he's much better at he's the OCD guy, so
All right,
he's
Brent.
gonna find little things.
No, I'm under pressure now. Scott, I got stage fright. I got nothing happening.
All right, so we get on another subject, and you just
right.
interrupt us with the great
Let my
trope.
subconscious.
You'll go, "I just thought of it."
Yeah.
So let's talk about the final third, you guys, because we're all toward the end of this cigar. What are your thoughts?
Well, let me talk about Final Nub.
This does not feel like hell to me.
Not at all. This is a joy. Does it have something to do with the taper?
I honestly don't know.
So
one of these days we are going to have a cigar rep on this show that can talk way more specifically about construction and all of those technical things that we think we know, but probably we could learn a lot, who is also a nerd and likes to talk about nerdy shit.
So
and I know a lot of those guys, by the way.
This torpedo style cigar, I almost said guitar. This torpedo
is that
guitar.
Is that like one of those special signaling guitars?
That kind.
Oh my god. So that's a trope right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about signicals.
But the fact that this tapers down so light, so you guys cut yours. I went ahead and just twisted off the pigtail. And because every time I see a pigtail now, I'm like, wait a minute, it's like that for a reason. And the only reason I know that is because Deadwood Cigars puts out a Crazy Alice that has a pigtail at the end of it, and it's a very short smoke.
Yep.
But for the longest time, I would always keep a little cutter, and I would just nip off the end. But this one in particular is kind of the same deal, is that when I twist off the pigtail, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, the draw is fantastic. So the fact that, now you guys are not at the nub like I am, but when I twisted that off, I'm not getting any hell at all. I'm getting all those flavors, and I can feel the heat on my thumb.
Well, even though I did a straight cut, it's still a pretty, it's the smaller part of the cigar there at the beginning.
Yeah. So are you saying you're experiencing the same thing?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not like, we all, so many times, not always, that's a generalization. So many times we say, once the fire gets close to the draw, there's a lot of burn, there's a lot of,
that burr.
Yeah. It's just getting kind of harsh toward the end, right? I'm not experiencing that here.
Me neither. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I really feel the need to get some roach clips.
Wait a minute. Don't you have a pick in that monstrosity of a thing you bought online?
I do, but it's a lot more fun to say roach clip.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. It's not a blunt.
It could be.
Man. What about you, Brent? What do you? How's it treating you?
I'm getting like a light almond flavor now.
So you are getting a little sweet.
Well, no, almonds for me aren't sweet.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the nut flavor.
All right. Well, you're crazy.
Yeah, my palate's different from yours. Hey, man, don't be vegan about it.
Yeah, because you guys aren't vegan with me.
No, we're just mean to you.
You know what, Micah? You know what? Be the bigger man.
Yeah, I don't feel like it.
Did I guys tell you the shirt that I'm definitely asking for Christmas?
I think you sent us a picture.
It's just text. No, I sent you the curmudgeon one for sure. But it's just text, and it says, "Am I a perfect person? No.
Oh,
am I trying to be a better person?
Also no." I love that. So let me get this straight. Every time you send us a pic of a T-shirt that you really, really like, that's a request for birthday,
I am
Christmas.
not saying that at all, and I am also saying all of that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not saying it was aliens.
But it's aliens.
Totally aliens. So that is going to do it for this episode where we talked about the Cornetto Trilogy by Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost. If you guys have never seen these movies, I highly encourage you to go and watch them. By the way, they are all currently available to stream on Peacock.
Yes.
So if you have that streaming service, run, don't walk to your television.
Yep, that's what I used.
And just hit them one after another.
Grab
in
a
this
cigar,
order.
grab a bottle of whiskey.
Yes.
And
In this order, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End.
Wait, quick question before
Yeah.
we totally wrap.
Yeah.
You said earlier, and I don't know if you answered it because you point out that I'm not a very great active listener. Did you tell us why it's called the Cornetto Trilogy?
Yeah, he did.
I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because of the ice cream. Yeah, so it started Shaun of the Dead when Simon Pegg asked Nick Frost early in the film, after they've had their night of drinking stuff, you want anything from the shop? And he says, Cornetto, right? Cornetto. And he goes and does that whole walk.
Got it.
And
Now
then
I
so when they
remember.
made Hot Fuzz, they're like, it'd be funny to bring that in again. So they did. And then World's End, you actually don't see it until the very end. A green wrapper blows up on the fence, and Nick Frost is standing there, and you see him kind of lunge for it. Like, I want that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
That's the
cool.
Cornetto. So that is the Cornetto Trilogy.
Yep, I'm happy.
Tonight we have been enjoying the Plasencia Reserva Original from Plasencia Cigars.
Original.
which is the very first cigar blend they ever did. It's been a fantastic cigar.
Yeah, I'm liking
Micah,
this.
tell us what you brought again.
I brought the Honey Hill Distillery Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
From Durango,
Colorado.
Which is now the second Durango, Colorado distillery I've heard about. The first being Durango Craft Spirits, which I'll probably grab us a bottle at some point for us.
Very cool.
And thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. Again, please go out to nerdherfers.com, hit the subscribe button, join the Nerd Herfer Nation, get yourself some merch. We're going to do a giveaway here before too long. I just suspect we have a need to give stuff away.
Definitely.
You can go to our cigar shop. Any of the cigars that you see there are cigars that we have reviewed on the podcast. You can go check them out for yourself. Am I missing anything, boys?
I don't think so.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah. Oh, go to our Instagram page at NerdHerfers. Start following us. We do. Brent is our tech genius on this, so he's always doing like some funny things.
Yeah, we need your support.
We do a lot of outtakes on this show that invariably wind up on our Instagram page. So some of them are acceptable and some of them are just for us because we can't put that out into the world. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I am Larry Brantley with Micah Donahoe.
Live long and prosper.
And Brent Williams.
Keep your shirt on.
Please do keep your shirt on. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next time. Until then, have yourself a Cornetto. Bye-bye.
Panic on the streets of London. Panic on the streets of Birmingham. I wonder to myself.
This has been a production of Nerd Herfers, copyright 2024, all rights reserved. No portion of this broadcast may be used without permission. Please visit nerdherfers.com for more information and full legal disclaimer, you nerd.
But honey,